if there's one thing people know about competitive diving, it's that the splash
this looks fine.
is important. The perfect dive will have the smallest splash, like this highest scoring Olympic dive ever by Matthew Mitchum from 2008.
Oh damn, there's no bubbles at all.
It's not just this that determines the splash. It's what happens underwater.
Interesting.
To figure out how Olympic divers get such small splashes, I spoke to the guy who trains them.
My name is Drew Johansson. I'm the head diving coach for the 2020 Olympic team. I coached in London in 2012 as well as in Rio for 2016. There's
Silver medal only?
There's the above water, there's the swim, and then there's
I wanted to get the gold medal guy.
sea.
Divers can't change much once they're in the air. So when they push off,
Yo,
they have to give themselves
fine.
enough height, enough distance from the board, and enough angular momentum to complete the dive.
You know, you're going 30 miles per hour, you have all the angular momentum of a 4.5 somersaults on top of it, and you're anticipating that moment of hitting the water.
As they approach the water, athletes extend their body into a needle-like line, with their toes pointed, knees locked, abs tight, arms up and hyperextended over their heads,
no bubbles,
elbows pressing tight into their ears, and most importantly, their hands in this position.
We'll have the athletes put their hands out and have them put their thumbs together in a locking, and then they'll grab on top.
This creates what's called a rip entry, named for this sound.
Oh.
And it's crucial for breaking through the water in a way that minimizes splash. To understand why this body position is
Makes
key,
sense.
let's look at what happens when you're not in this position. If you slip and fall, for instance, like Chinese diver Chang Yanyi did in the FINA World Cup semifinals, covered by NBC Sports.
Oh my
so
goodness.
bad.
Splashes come in two parts. The initial splash is unavoidable. As water is getting displaced, it has to move somewhere. It gets
4 years
pushed
for this?
down and out, creating a radial jet that shoots up at 20 to 30 times the speed of the impact. The second part of the splash is caused by the air that divers bring in with them. When Yanni's body makes
I'm
contact
just kidding,
with the
relax.
water, it creates an air-filled cavity. As her body submerges, the
Oh.
cavity deepens, and the surrounding water starts applying pressure. That pressure is enough to cause the cavity to collapse in on itself. It starts filling with water from the bottom up. There's so much pressure and energy that the water ejects straight back up towards the surface, resulting in a Worthington jet. The second pop of the big splash we see here.
Okay.
This large splash earned Yanni a scratch dive. 0 points.
That's it? 0.
Just a day later, Yanni was able to create the total opposite, a tiny splash, thanks to that hand position and her controlled and rigid body. This dive scored
the water didn't go past the
points.
Just recently at our Olympic trials, we had a 90-point dive, actually a couple of them in there, up on the 10-meter platform.
Like this dive by Team USA member Jordan Windle, which scored 96 points. As his flat palms make contact with the water, they push it down and out.
There was no splash at all,
He still gets that initial unavoidable splash, but it's tiny. The flat hands create a cavity that's just wide enough for his body to pass through. The next steps in the rip entry work to minimize that second splash, the Worthington jet, and they take place underwater.
Impressive.
As they enter the water, they're going to swim their hands out to the side.
This swim motion is clear in the 76.5-point dive by Andrew Capobianco from an Olympic trial event in Indianapolis.
You know the guy who dove for like
it moves some of
like
the
100 meters in the air, dude?
From the center, breaking the air cavity.
He had like a
into
white
smaller
nose
bubbles.
cream thing.
You'll see two white bubbles out to the side of the hole that the athlete went in. Those are the swim bubbles. And then the final component is another somersault that's created underwater that also will trap the air that comes into the water.
I'll show you
prevent
guys.
it from coming up through the same hole that it went in, and delays it from coming back up, and that's what reduces the splash as much as possible.
Okay, hold up.
This disperses air, breaking big bubbles into smaller bubbles, making them less splashy when they rise to the top. If performed correctly, the bubbles will be so...
Guys, I found it. Hey guys, I found it. I think it's this one.
This is ABC's Wide World of Sports.
At the world record high
I think it's this guy.
challenge in San Diego, Rick Winters will be the first person ever
Yeah,
to
dude.
attempt a successful dive. But the necessity of a great dive. In some ways,
Watch
being
it.
first
What?
is
It's
difficult.
crazy.
Once you make it, the others relax in knowing that if one man can do it, they can too. To help absorb the impact from this height, most of the divers wear at least 2 tight suits.
You would
sometimes
think this is
3,
fake, dude.
And they wear tight supportive braces over the knees. All the divers
I don't think people do this
consented to talk
anymore.
with us briefly
Maybe people stop
through a
doing it.
microphone up on the platform. We may get a word in with some of them.
Rick, can you hear us? This is Kenny and Diana down at poolside. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Well, what do you think, buddy?
This thing's getting higher every year.
You got that right. What's your feeling? Are you gonna do it, or are you gonna walk down?
Oh no, I'm gonna do it.
No doubt, huh?
No doubt.
Well, Rick, you looked beautiful on your 130-foot dive. Is that about the way you're going to put it in this time?
Well, I'll try to be a little cleaner. It never hurts to be a little cleaner.
All right, we're going to leave you to your own
Well, it
thoughts
hurts.
now.
It hurts
Good luck
not to
you.
be as clean
All
though.
right, thank you.
He certainly appears to be ready this year. He's shaking the ladder back and forth, but the ladder, I've been told, is as stable as it's ever been.
Getting 2.5-year-old Holly and the 2.5-month-old Scarlett, I'm sure, concerned for his safety at this moment.
Dude, look how crazy high it is
His favorite
in
dive is a
perspective.
3-position back somersault. Just falls. Oh, he's got to hold it. He's moving a little too fast. Oh, he punched through. Good dive. I'm sure he's not hurt. He really punched through.
Hello?
Ken, this makes me wonder.
All right. Be nervous too, Diana. I didn't.
That's
come up to
crazy.
the water.
The other one, I think, does it higher with a jump.
You can see the way he punched through, and I'm sure we'll see it in slow motion. Now he falls, he flies, and he's got to really.
The
really
world's
hold. This is what
highest
gives him
everything.
control. Now you see what he does right here.
Come on, watch that now.
And that's what